slide in the full screen. It's F. Just a second.
Devassy, within that, go to the presentation there and then slideshow.
Okay.
From beginning.
Okay. Now it's better, right? Yeah.
It's good.
So there are two questions in this I'll be addressing in this slide. Number one, what is an internship? Number two, what it is ideally supposed to be. I've put the second question inside parentheses, inside brackets. I'll tell the reason for it later on. Now, first, I'll be addressing the first question. What is an internship? So, fundamentally, it is a hands-on experience in the labor market. It is nothing more or nothing less. So, for example, anything that gives you active participation in the job market is an internship. You'll be participating, you'll be doing things rather than sitting idly and not doing things. Now, at this juncture, I'd like to make a small distinction between research internship and a corporate internship. Research, so for an economics graduate, I'm only talking from economics point of view. For an economics graduate, there are two types of internship a person can do. It can either be a research internship or a corporate internship. A research internship, it pertains to academic circles like a think tank. Think tank is like a academic organization or a organization which gives working papers, research papers. For example, Vitala, I interned with Center for Public Policy and Research, that is CPPR, in the year 2000. I don't remember the year. Uh, Before coronavirus hit, and their flagship project that year was the Vitala Mobility Hub. So it was the interconnection of Vitala water metro, the metro, and via the Vitala bus. So all three transport modes are interconnected in that area. So that is a think tank, and research internship is any internship where you give a research output. For example, and another example is a professor a professor can be doing his PhD and he can invite certain students as interns for them to collect data. That could be internship. That could be a research internship. It can be anything that pertains to research or academic circles. That is research internship. And then there is, on the flip side, there is corporate internship. Corporate internship is by a conglomerate, a multinational company, or a corporate firm, and their workings are different. Like it can be a big four consultancy like EY, PwC, or my former company, JS Market Reports. It can be like anything. Yeah, those. So I'm making the distinction between research internship and corporate internship first. Now the second thing is what an internship gives us is it gives us two things. First, it gives a first-hand account of work experience. How is work experience? What all? Ideally, it is supposed to give us. I'll later come to it. Ideally, it is supposed to give the first-hand account of work experience. How is the environment and real-time experience of work environment? How are the people there? How fast-paced or slow-paced it is, and things like that. But in real life, most of the times, if you go for a corporate internship, I'm putting the emphasis on corporate internship because corporates are more profit motivated. They do not delegate responsibilities to interns because they don't want an intern to screw up their job. So they give something very trivial, and interns do not get the taste of how a corporate life is. That is the harsh reality. Nobody can do anything about it. It is not only the case in India, it is the case almost everywhere. people do not get the real life experience of how a corporate work culture is when you go for a corporate internship. Or sometimes, if you're lucky, you may get an internship in a really good corporate company. It depends on your luck. There's nothing more I can say. Now, the third thing is internship. It gives you a industrial exposure of how the industry is and stuff. It is quite self-explanatory. I don't think I have to explain it any further. Now, now this is the paradoxical part. Till now, I said I'm talking about corporate internships. I'll talk about research internships also. Co- What are the advantages of an internship? Till now, paradoxically, I said corporate internships do not give you the work exposure and the exposure to the work environment. I told so, but it is highly unlikely to get the work exposure or the work culture in a corporate internship. But paradoxically, even though that is the case, you landing a internship if you want to go into corporate circle, it signals your competitiveness in the labor market. It shows you're proactive, you're dynamic, you're somebody who's on your toes, you're working, you're versatile. It shows you're a go-getter and not somebody who's laid back and lazy. The second thing, it facilitates industrial learning of necessary skills. So necessary skills include MS Office, that is my Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, and Microsoft PowerPoint. It shows it's really important, these skills. Then the third thing is exposure to workplace etiquette and mannerisms. Many so I have no qualms, but most of us are from a small town or a city from Kerala. Like, not many of us are privileged enough to be coming from a huge city like Cochin or Mumbai or New Delhi. Most of us are from small towns and cities in Kerala. We're a homogeneous crowd, and we do not have the exposure to the workplace etiquette and mannerisms in a corporate work environment, or even for that matter of fact, a research internship. We do not have that exposure to that research etiquette, how things are to be, how not to plagiarize, and how to submit things on time or small things. And I think I explained it well enough. I am not sure. So now the fourth thing is it bridges the existing asymmetric information between you and the potential employee. So as I mentioned earlier, there is a asymmetric information. It signals that you're competent enough in the labor market. You're a go-getter. And finally, it signals that you're proactive and diligent in your work. So these are the advantages of an internship, both for a corporate internship as well as for a research internship. Now, what are the prerequisite skills for a career or an internship? So, irrespective of whether if you're going for a white collar job, that is any job that is not a blue collar job, if you're going for a white collar, highly skilled job, the prerequisites for a career or an internship for you landing a good career or an internship, I'm emphasizing again, is there are two skills that are required irrespective of the field, irrespective of the industry that you're going to. Number one is command over English language, spoken and written. So The best way to improve our spoken and written English skills is extensive reading and writing. That's the only way we can improve it. And if any of you are UPSC aspirants, the best way is UPSC civil service examination style writing daily to hone skills. So what you can do is you can write a essay. It doesn't have to be essay on anything. You don't have to write a sophisticated essay. Even an essay on a small trivial banal object can get you through. Like it doesn't matter. A nice wr- written skills and write spoken English. And especially in corporate internship, if you do not have good spoken English, you're gonna get slaughtered. You would not have a social life. People will just slaughter you left and right, like because people are so cutthroat. The competition is so tight. They'll take a step on you, and you'll be you'll just relegate yourself to another league. Even though you are skilled, these are the things that I've seen in my industry, in my former company. It's toxic, but that's the harsh reality we have to live with. And written English, but if you're going for a research internship, it's your written English that counts. Your spoken English doesn't count so much. You don't have to be so good in spoken English. If your written English is good, then your research internship is set. You just have to be good at research. And again, irrespective of the field that you're going to, you should be good in MS Office. That is MS Word, MS PowerPoint. The MS means Microsoft. Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Microsoft Excel. Of this, Microsoft Excel is the most potent and powerful and dynamic software you'll use anywhere and everywhere. There'll be more updated softwares like Spaces R, Stata, but Microsoft Excel is the most potent software you'll be using. So, at the earliest, get yourself certified or learn Microsoft Excel. Now, the thing is, you don't have to pay the money and get yourself certified. You can. There are plenty of online resources on free online resources you can use. But if you pay money and get yourself certified, again it's a signal. It's a signal to your potential employee you are employable, or you are proactive, you are diligent, you are not somebody who's laid back. You are a go-getter. So when you get yourself certified in Microsoft Excel or PowerPoint or Word from Coursera or Udemy or some other online resources, it signals to the potential employee you are a competitive candidate. You have employable skills on you. Now these two, irrespective, the first and the second skills, irrespective of the field you're going to, is important. Now the remaining skills, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, that is command over mathematics up to 10+2 level, is important only for research internship and for certain corporate internships. So if you did not do mathematics at 10+2 level, it is fine. It doesn't matter much. But what you can do is National Institute of Open School. Again, if you are somebody who's proactive, National Institute of Open School offers an option of studying mathematics at 10 plus 2 level, or there are several certificate courses that you can do online to certify that you have studied or you're competing in mathematics at 10 plus 2 level. Then fourth is statistics and econometrics at graduate level. So this is my personal testimony. When I was working in my former company, I even shared this with Joe sir. My statistical and econometric models. I wasn't. I personally was not very competent with my statistical and econometric models. There were people much more brilliant at it when I was studying in college. But when I went for my job, I was the only economics graduate in my job, and most of the day I used to create econometric models and statistical models. And my boss my boss was he didn't ask specifically for econometric or statistical models, but the clients my boss was working for, they asked for statistical and econometrical models, and I used to create these models and give them to the clients. And the പൊട്ടത്തെറ്റായിരുന്നു ഞാൻ ചെയ്ത മോഡൽസ്. പക്ഷെ they were just happy seeing statistics and econometrics. Like, പൊട്ടത്തെറ്റെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ 100% പൊട്ടത്തെറ്റല്ല. It had some element of truth to it. But like 70% of the model was right, but there were errors here and there. But even then, they were happy to see there was mathematics and statistics in it, and they wanted more and more statistical and mathematical tools and econometrical tools to show their models. So again, you can self-learn it through online courses in Coursera, and you don't have to be good at mathematics or statistics or econometrics. So the software like SPSS, R, Stata, it does the dirty work for you. You just have to input the data values, and you get the model outside. Now, the emerging field is programming language like R and Python. It is immensely helpful for finding higher paying jobs. This is going to be the next playing field. If you get yourself certified in Python and R, it will be immensely helpful in your career. Trust me on this. It is the next thing that is going to happen. All right. Any doubts? You can type in the chat box. I'm going to continue, assuming that there are no doubts. Now, again, I'm going to come to the objective reality regarding internships. So, people think that internships are really easy to come. Just a second. Objective reality regarding internships, people think internships are really easy to come by. But again, this is from what I have witnessed. There is a lot of nepotism involved in selection of the applicants. And this is especially true in corporate firms. In research firms, there is not so much of nepotism. But in corporate firms, you knowing somebody else or your parents knowing somebody else working in the industry, gets you the internship. It is not through your merit. So that is the objective reality. So you have to be so cutthroat and so competitive if you have to get in by your merit. So skill yourself. People who are studying in college, you have 3 years to skill yourself. So skill yourself as much as possible. And second thing is, a lot of firms just exploit a label. Do not go for unpaid internships. Unpaid internships should be the means of last resort. Always, always, always go for paid internship. That is why you're skilling yourself so much, and you're paying. You should get something in return for what you're doing. So skill yourself so much that they cannot refuse hiring you as an intern. Unpaid internships should be a means of last resort. Then third thing is, even though you're competent enough, outside of Kerala, firms will have a bias against you. So, like, I worked with two bosses. I had this is again opinion. I don't know how far it's true, but from my anecdotal experience, the people I worked with, they were Malayalis, and they say that Malayalis aren't competent enough. But in my opinion, it's not. Malayalis aren't competent enough. Our syllabus is not competent enough. So that is why I'm telling you, you have to skill yourself and show you are competent enough. You have to up, upskill yourself. Our syllabus is really not so good. Our college syllabus compared to colleges out of Kerala. So people are reluctant to hire people from from Kerala because our syllabus is not so good, to be honest. So my bosses were biased against me from the beginning, but I had to prove them that I was pretty good, and it took me like around 2 to 3 months to prove that I was pretty good in my field. Eh, and beginning it was pretty difficult for me. Anyways, that's another story. Now this is, you guys use Instagram, right? If you use Instagram, I'll share this slide with Joy sir. There are certain Instagram pages I'll ask you to follow. So create a new Instagram ID and follow these Instagram pages. The idea being, when you follow these Instagram pages, the algorithm will recommend only Instagram pages like this to you. It won't recommend anything other than these pages. Now these pages are specifically job and internship specific pages. So I'll share these Instagram pages. One second. I'll just type it in the chat box right there. And this person, Nidhi Nagori 29, is an excellent resource person. She is Truly, truly amazing. You guys definitely should follow this person called Nidhi Nagori 29. Now, how to land how to land an internship. So there are several ways you can land an internship. I told you, right now, as of now, you are at a disadvantage. And talking in economics term, that is a sunk cost. You cannot do anything about it. We are not privileged enough to have good syllabus. Those are our disadvantages. But what objectively what we can do is we can now try to come out of it. We can fight a scenario. So what we can do to fight this scenario is number one, cold approach to HR manager of preferred firm. For example, use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an amazing tool you can use. Network with students, professionals, HR managers over LinkedIn. And when you use LinkedIn, always use a conversation opener. Do not say, hi, hi, I'm Devassy. I want to work in your firm. Do not make it brief. Always put a well thought out, well drafted message. Be polite, be courteous, and put that message across. So be like, if Joyce sir is a HR manager, be like, hi, Professor Joyce, I would like to work in your firm. I I think our values and ethos match with each other. I'm a hardworking, diligent, proactive, dynamic member. And be put don't send a huge essay across, but send out a well thought out message to your to the HR manager that you want to work in that firm and you why you want to work in that firm, why you think you'll be a good fit in that firm. So send it across to them as an intern or even as a career. This is what you want to do. No, then the third thing is cold approaching professors who are hello. Cold cold approach to professors who are doing research projects. So many professors, like I know this professor who was doing this research project for he published a book. His name was Alex. I'm not sure of his name. He works in Asim Premji. His name was Alex Varghese or something. Just a second. Yeah, Alex M. Thomas, who was working in Asim Premji University. He is a economics professor, and he published this book. He studied in University of Hyderabad, and he published this book called History of Economic Thought and Intermediate Macroeconomics. For all his books, he was calling across interns and students to work with him as a intern and to help him with his books. So reach out to professors. Then similarly, I I got this when I was in college. I did this research project for Joy Sir in this locality called Valamechira. It's in Chegnashiri. So I worked as an enumerator collecting field data from the color from the field, and because of that, just by the virtue I worked as an enumerator, I was called as to work as more as an enumerator in another project, and this happened. But unfortunately I was not available, and I had to give it to another person. I asked Joy sir who was available, and Niti Ayog called me, and I had to give this project to this student called I think Alan James. Yeah, Alan James. So I gave this Niti Ayog project to my junior called Alan James, and he collected data for tea board, spices board, and things in this project. And I asked him how it was, and he said it was really nice experience. So always collaborate with professors over LinkedIn and other students in LinkedIn. Then there are certain organizations like ISEC, FSL. For example, FSL gives a program called Wellwards Germany program. It's a fully sponsored program. You just have to get your passport. For 1 year, you'll be in Germany. You'll get credits for this program. You'll be working in Germany for one entire year. It's fully sponsored. You don't have to spend a single penny. So look out for organizations like ISEC, FSL, etc. Now, similarly, NGOs like ActionAid, Bhumi, Teach for India, those are NGOs where you can work. Similarly, email think tanks like ORF, CPPR, CLPR when if you want to work. ORF is Observer Research Foundation. To get an internship in Observer Research Foundation, it's quite difficult. I wouldn't advise that. But CPPR, CLPR, Janagraha, it's quite easy. Just email them and tell you want to work with them. It will be okay. Then seventh is Reddit post on subreddit. So people who use Reddit, um, I'll just any of you guys use Reddit? Like you can text in the chat box. Anybody? Somebody has a doubt? Neena Panikar? Okay, I think she uses Reddit already. So I'm going to assume she uses Reddit. And so there are subreddits. Most of the cities have a subreddit. So for example, Chennai has a subreddit, Bangalore has a subreddit, Kerala has a subreddit, and these subreddits every monthly once or every fortnightly once, they put up threads. On these threads, you can put up your things like where you want employment or you want to work as an intern or anything. So just go to the subreddits and check and put across your credential. It is an anonymous website, so do not use your actual name. Don't use your actual name, but say put your actual credentials. You are a graduate in economics or you are a postgraduate in economics. Now there are non-academic internships. So these are not relevant and more of a vacation than an internship per se. But again, if you want to venture out into hospitality, tourism, and things like that, it's pretty good. For example, these internships would not help you in a strict sense of career, but it will help you set up a backpack, a hostel, or what, or things like that. Like it will help you in the hospitality, tourism sector. So digital marketing, search engine optimization, volunteering, and it's more relevant for. It is not relevant for Indian education, but it is more relevant for Anglophonic education. So most of the people who do these non-academic internships are people from US, UK, Australia, Canada, and it's not from India. So a few websites, and these internships are free of cost. You get a small stipend, and you get to travel to some other country, but you should be willing to pay for your money. You should be willing to pay for your tickets. Now there are aggregate. I'll just put across the websites also. Let's So these are a few websites. You can check it out. So these websites give you internships, but it doesn't hold any academic credits to it. Rather, it's something to explore a new country, a new culture, and it doesn't help. Okay. Okay, sure, sir. I'll share in the WhatsApp group. It doesn't help in the strictest sense of how it doesn't help in the strictest sense in the academic circles, but it will help in the tourism sector or hospitality sector if you're going for that. Now there are aggregator websites like Internshala also. So everybody knows about Internshala. I don't have to explain it. Then the last thing you can do is you can use websites like Indeed or Naukri and find companies. And what you can do is you can reverse search their website on Google. So, for example, there is a company called uh, JS Market Reports on Indeed. They are hiring somebody, not an intern. Talking about an employee. They are hiring an employee. What you can do is this is quite tedious task to do, but what you can do is you find this JS Market Reports on Indeed. You find this company, you reverse Google search it on Google, and then you get the website, and on website you find the HR's email, and you send a cold email to the HR explaining your situation that you want to intern in there for. So that is also a good strategy, but it is really tedious and it will take a lot of time. Now, if you're doing a research internship, a few of the reputable organizations that you can work in are Observer Research Foundation, Delhi, Center for Civil Society, Delhi, Asian Democratic Reforms, Delhi, IPAC, Kolkata. IPAC is Prashant Bhushan's organization, CAS is Delhi, Center for Policy Reforms, Delhi, Center for Public Policy and Research, Kochi, Center for Public Policy, Bangalore, Janagraha, Bangalore, NIC, Kathmandu, Center for Social and Economic Progress, New Delhi. So what you can essentially do is most of the metropolitan cities, they'll have a think tank or a research organization, and you can just put the uh, or put the city's name. So, for example, you want to work in Mumbai, you can put think tanks and Mumbai and Google it. So, it will give you a list of think tanks, and then you can send an email to them saying you want to intern or you want to work with them, and they'll reply to your email eventually. And finally, at last, whatever you do, do your own research, BYOR, do your own research. Second thing is make use of your faculty. Professor Johnson K. Joyce, Dr. Anilas Karia, Dr. Cheryl Tom, Dr. Srinivarti. All of them, they have a lot of exposure in their academic circles. So if you want to do a research internship, make use of their contacts. Similarly, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, make a LinkedIn profile ASAP as soon as possible, and try connecting over to people over LinkedIn. And if you are in your first year of college, do online courses and get certified. Subsequently, go for internships. So, ideally, what I'll do if I'm in your shoes is first year I'll do a lot of online certifications, and second year I'll go for internships. Second and third year I'll go for internship. Fifth point is Microsoft Office is of utmost importance, and it is in the descending order. Microsoft Excel is of the most importance. Then comes Microsoft PowerPoint, and then comes Microsoft Word. All of them are very potent tools, very important, very dynamic tools. So become proficient in them. Then Python, R, Strata, SPSS again is important. Do online courses in the same for economics after you have some understanding on statistics. So these or softwares like Python, R, Strata, SPSS, they they are they are a quite advanced software, but if you get into corporate or advanced research circles, it is pretty important to be proficient in them. So I guess yeah, that's it. It's over. So any of you guys have any doubts? Any of you guys have any doubts?
Chera, I don't think there are any doubts, and if you do have any doubts, you can put it in the chat box. So should we continue towards the end, towards the closing? Shall I? Okay. Respected teachers and students, I, on behalf of the Economics Department of SB College, would like to thank the resource person of the day, Devassy Joseph, for the informative session on internships. Next, I would also like to thank Johnson K. Joyce, head of the Department of Economics, who helped make this event a successful one. Next, I would also like to thank all the teachers and students who attended the program and made it successful. Thank you, and I would like to wish everyone a good day ahead.